meeting to order, and, Ms. Margie?
We got 4 present, 3 absent, so you got 4.
Alright. First thing on the agenda is the election of a chairman, vice chair, and a secretary.
Motion to keep all the officers the same.
I second that. Yes.
Any discussion?
I highly doubt it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
You don't care.
Budget allocations, refer this to Boo.
So, the budget allocations, there's just a couple things that I wanna go over before y'all start your discussion. These are, this is kind of a timeline of the money that we've received, some of the money that's went out. Ms. Heather put this together for us, and, just to kind of give us an idea of what the money left that has to be dispersed. We have $10,813 in the state fund that needs to be allocated. It does not have to be spent, just, we have to make sure that we have a full plan of where that money's going by March the 1st. My hope is that, you guys can talk about it today, and if we have something that money needs to be allocated, go ahead and do that, so we don't leave anything, on the table. We're definitely not gonna give any money back, but, because we have a lot of things that we can do with it, but that's the first thing, and that's on the last page in red. So that's the money that, again, we have to have a plan for. It doesn't have to be a check written, it just, we gotta have a plan for it. So that when she does her report, April the something, the one day in April, I don't know what it is, that she can have that in a full report. That's the, if we have emergency money, that's the emergency thing on the agenda today. The rest of these are just as they are. It's the money that's coming in. She tried to put the best she can, even for next year. We've already got our allocation amount for that, and that was 60, let me find it, I've only looked at this 20 times and I can't find it, 60 something.
I think it's right here. Third year state.
Oh, yeah,
payment of
that's it.
63,000.
So our payment there for the third year will be $63,997. So, and that will be a spring payment, this year. So, the Kroger payout deal with the Krogers, it's still directly in the middle. They haven't come to an agreement on that yet. The state did put out the 3-year rolling projections. Of course, they change daily, as most of you can see, but, then the Philip Morris came in at $2,523.75 less the lawyer fees, so I'm positive we'll get a check. I'm positive it's not gonna be very much also. But I don't know if any of you followed that Endo bankruptcy suit. Have you?
I haven't.
The state's changed the formula on it now. 35% of it's going to the state. So what we thought might have been a pretty decent check. It's not gonna be anything what we thought. But we'll also have the ability, if we come up with a program that needs future funding, we can go back to the state. The state's using it as a, I don't know, just not a slush fund, but they're using it as a fund that if we start something and maybe run out of money earlier, you can go back and say, hey, this is working really good, but we can't fund it. Can we fund it for 1 more year or 2 years? And they're helping us with that. So that's just a really brief overview of what Ms. Heather put together for us.
Okay. Anybody got any questions about that? All right, so I guess we need to talk about where we would like to see the 10,000.
813.
Yeah, 813.
Yeah. Thanks.
Applied toward. I guess we're not gonna have time to, a lot of time, so I guess we gotta decide today, it sounds like.
Well, no, we don't have to decide today. We can come back at the end of the month and have another meeting, if that's something you guys wanna do. We have a lot of a lot of things going on, I mean, so, I don't think,
And then it take 2 weeks to advertise the meeting, so, I mean,
Well,
we'd be right there at it, so.
Got it now.
yeah, I mean, we would have, that's what I'm saying, we would have time to do it, but it's not, and, you know, with committees such as these, the state's very clear about what we have to do to advertise, so if, you know, as far as, we're not on any time crunch to say get it in the paper, for example, this is not, these committee meetings don't have to be published in the paper. We try as much as we can to do that, but that's not a necessity. A necessity is posting it on our website, making sure it's on the door, things like that. Those are things that we have set precedents on this county of doing, so. We have time to do it, but,
Well, could we discuss some of the programs that we've already funded?
sure. If y'all are done with budget allocations, I would just advise to go to new business
And
and take
because
off.
it could be that there's something that we've already funded that has shown to be a really good program, that some of this that the 10,000 could be allocated to go towards,
Sure.
Towards that, so, I did hear feedback from, I think maybe Mayor you did as well, on the Camp Kids program. The camp,
Right, yes.
the Camp
yes.
Kids
I'm
program.
sorry, all these programs get
I
twisted,
know.
but yes.
So the Camp Kids program is, in Dover Elementary, it's also at North Stewart. And a couple of, a teacher, another school-related person that I talked with, the teachers love it and the students love it. That it is very much welcomed and they are just loving that program. So, it had a cost of, $18,000 was our cost on that. But, I do, that's something I would like to see to continue on, in the elementary schools.
We just fund that for 1 year.
We did, yes, we did.
I took one call on it, from a vice principal who said, I'm not for sure the funding mechanism for them, but she said, we can literally, we have children going in this class after Halloween, is the way she explained it, and we were looking for just a blowout, and she said, her and another staff member walked down there, and the kids were all on the floor, quiet, listening to the stories about how to act, and these characters, or they're trying to emulate these characters in a positive way, and she said, yeah, I don't know how that goes forward, but I just wanted to give you that. And then I had a teacher reach out to me. I've had two, the vice principal and then the teacher, and she kind of reiterated the same thing,
Yeah.
just saying that this program is making a huge difference, just in the way that children are acting. I don't know to what, I've not sit through it. I mean, I probably need to one day. I mean, and I probably need the program, to be honest, but I don't know if they're addressing anything other than
It's self-awareness,
what are,
self-respect.
right, yeah. So, but it's got positive feedback in it. So yeah, I agree with you 100%, that program, I don't,
Yeah,
there's some other programs that I don't feel as positive with. After speaking, I'll let you go through a little bit of that, but the vape thing, I think has it turned the corner now? I mean, are we going in the right direction with it?
I haven't, after I spoke with both of you, I know that I talked to Miss Wheaton, she came to my office later that day. We sat down, she's putting together, I haven't gotten a date for a Saturday class of doing any of vaping class, of doing a Saturday class. Now, they did, apparently the school system has a policy for first-time vapors that they're supposed to work with juvenile court for first-time vapors. We didn't know that policy existed until somebody contacted us and told us. So we've developed a plan with juvenile court for first-time vapors, how we're gonna handle these first-time vapors. They're supposed to be getting that class together. For us, we have some current class kids that need it. We can't wait for the school as the side for probation. So we've gotten with Ms. Fields to put together a vaping class for us. But as far as the school putting together a vaping class for us, no, we have not had a date set for that. They're supposed to be getting that for us, but they have not gotten that together for it, so.
I was initially aggravated at that a little bit, but then, after I found out the funding mechanism had we just paid them for that also. So,
Well,
if they were waiting on us, I see why they hadn't done that, and so we just got them their money.
Right.
So, I would say that will fix, I'm hoping that will fix itself, especially since
well, that was a $4,000 item, and I'm not sure on the funding on that.
I think it was
because
more than 4,000, it was just 4,000
For
for
the
the
Saturday.
supplement, it was a supplement for the
was a
teacher
pay,
to teach
okay,
it,
that's
right.
pay it, and then it was 2,000 for the Michigan model that they were gonna use to teach it.
Well, and that was, they had said would be implemented in their wellness and PE classes that they wanted.
has
And
that been,
we don't know, there was 2,000 for prevention media, like advertising, we don't know, I don't know, I'll just say I don't know. 1,000 for family intervention packets for families, and 1,000 for the Tennessee Department of Health Education prevention material. So, I mean, I don't know, do we have to pay for, does the Tennessee Department of Education Health, do they not provide some free stuff, but maybe not? But that was pretty much the breakdown
Right.
on what went to the school. And then, in our funding here, everything was funded in July of '24, according to this. All.
well, no, yes. It was approved and funded, and as far as the certain things, they did not give their money in July of '24. That was when the budget and line items came out.
Have some of these others not received their money then, do you know? It's on this third page.
No, they are.
Okay. They've all,
Everything's gone now.
they've already received
Right,
it.
everything,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as actually you've received the check.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah,
All of it.
okay.
Yeah, no, and that was one of the main questions I had, because I was thinking, why are we not going,
Yeah,
and maybe I was just being antsy, I don't know.
yeah.
But no, it's all the water's gone.
So as far as, what we did with the school the last time, I'm mostly interested in the camp kids funding, at this time.
Right, sure.
Unless we come up with some additional ways, I think we could, but, I'm not sure.
Well, juvenile court has entered into an agreement with the school, so because they have that policy in place, first time kids are being now charged for vaping. So they used to not charge kids for first time vaping. So if a kid is caught with a vape or a tobacco product for first time, they are charged with a petition or a citation. It'll be handled as an informal adjustment, that means they don't go in front of a judge. It'll be handled in front of myself or a probation officer. And we handle that outside of court. They have to complete some community service and an education class. Whether or not the school's supposed to get that Saturday class developed, it's a free class. Because of this money, they complete that class, then the ticket will be dismissed or the citation will be dismissed. Once they get another ticket, if they get another citation or any of that type of thing, then they go in front of the court. It's an agreement that has been worked out between the school system and juvenile court, because, technically it's a crime. So that's kind of where we are at this point. The school system has to develop. Juvenile court will not send kids to a class that is being charged, because we can't say you have to take this class, but it costs $40, because we can't help somebody make a profit. So as long as the class is free, we will let the kids attend the morning school. So that's kind of where they are at that moment.
With your conversation with Ms. Cheryl, how do you feel about, is this in go now? I mean,
Yes.
now I feel like both of y'all, is that correct?
Yes, she was getting with it, we wrote up the deal on the email, she was getting that together with that Michigan model coming up. But the one we have one now with Ms. Fields on Thursday, that's just because we just don't have time to wait for them to develop theirs. But with this new policies they're putting in place, that's what we're gonna do. But for kids that are placed on probation, and we're gonna do what we need to do, we're
It
not
looked
gonna
like the
wait for
high school
school.
was taking a pretty, to me, putting that out, that they were first-time
Yes.
offenses and this, and they were taking a pretty hard stance. So that's, of course, what we wanted as a community, I would
Right.
think. And that should, I don't ever wanna see these classes filled up, that's not a positive thing.
Right, right.
But that should put more children in front of the, education side of this, right? I mean, is that what?
But there's no need for money back, it's all.
Right,
it's
right,
good.
yes, as long as they have, you know, for us, the school system, and Ms. Fields isn't charging us any money either, she's taking her time coming into our office after hours and teaching this class also, so that's, you know, she's not charging our probationers doing that either. I mean, she's gonna have a pretty good class, I mean, she has 12, I think, we have Thursday, and she's coming to teach this class, so, I mean, she's not charging that either. Cause we can't send kids, we have to give a list of places they can go and do that, we can't give anybody, you know,
Is-
hey, you have to go to this class.
Is 12 due to backlog? That sounds like a lot of.
It's probably like 6 of them is due to vaping charges, and the rest of them, we kinda have them go, kind of as an education, because what she teaches is an education. So we make them go and give them community service hours, because we feel like they need to be educated on the dangers of vaping.
So what's y'all's thoughts on, the 10,000 plus, what? You want to come back, want to make a decision, what's your thoughts, Clint?
Do we know if these programs, like the camp kids or whatever, do they need additional funding now, or do we know?
No, but it can be appropriated for the next year, is my understanding on this, we just gotta appropriate it into,
That's correct.
In
Yeah, I mean, if
correct.
that's the way y'all decide to go, then if you're saying that we liked it the first year and we're gonna put the 10,000 or 10,8, whatever it is, towards funding next year, and then when they come before, the board, they might only need 8,000 or 6,000 or whatever the remainder balance
The
is.
balance
If that's
is.
what, that would definitely take care of your funds.
But we don't actually have to expend this, we just have to appropriate it.
Correct,
yes.
yes, no, it
It's
does
agenda
not.
proposed plan.
Yeah, it's just got to be in the plan that Heather turns in. And if there's another program that y'all like or that you've heard from, I mean, we can plan out any of this you wanna plan out. This is completely up to y'all.
Yeah,
So,
I know you guys asked, like, I know when I talked to both of y'all had asked if there's something that juvenile court can use, and it's hard to try to sit down and really think about something that, like, what we could use, you know, teaching, or what we can develop for something that we could use for the youth, and a lot of the things, and I hate to say it, but, I mean, I've sat down, cause you know, it's starting to get the end of the year, and I'm trying to look at, and I talked to a parent the other day, cause we had a kid come in, and her mom looked at me and she said, my kid is addicted. I mean, they're addicted to vaping. And trying to find the tools to help them not vape. And I started looking at, they have these anxiety necklaces that's supposed to help kids, or help people stop smoking and stop vaping. And I looked at that and I thought, well, maybe I can use some of the funding that we have through juvenile court to buy, to help these kids. They're called anxiety necklaces. I don't know if anybody else has heard of those. But they look like a dog whistle kinda. They're supposed to, but they're very, very expensive. And I asked this mom, I said, how would you have felt if we bought some of those necklaces and gave them to your child? And she said, well, I'd be okay with that. I don't know how all parents would feel of something of these kids that put something, because when you think about it, they are addicted to them. But I don't know how everybody would feel having some of that funding, buy some of those. You know,
How expensive?
it just depends on like what kind you buy. The ones I looked at were, I think they were like $7.99, $6.99. It just depends on, there's bamboo ones, there's some metal ones, that you can buy. It just depends on like what kind you get and how many you wanted to keep on hand.
I will say that, after listening to the Opioid Abatement State Committee just a couple of weeks ago, they just had another roundabout, I guess they call it. And talking to some other mayors, from the last two conferences, one thing that we have appropriated a little bit of money for advertising and stuff, but we have not done anything like all some of these other counties have done. I mean, they have some major advertisements. I know we mentioned, t-shirts one time. There's things like that, that if y'all are, you know, if you wanna wait to hear from the school system, which is okay with me, and you didn't wanna do that, we can allocate some of this money to some, to media.
We did talk about that in a meeting.
To some media stuff, because I don't think I realized how, some of the counties that didn't say a whole, but the counties that did say a lot about it spent a lot of money in it. I was kinda, I mean, I think, so like Miss Melissa's crew has already addressed like the billboard. To me, that would not hit home because, you know, I seen the gummy bear one and the other ones that she's put out, but t-shirts and things of that nature that, that her organization can hand out, that our committee can hand out, that the county can hand out, juvenile services, that, to me, that's a, I mean, I don't know what it would say. I mean, I've seen a bunch of different ones, but we have not spent very much money on.
Well, what's y'all's thoughts about taking the, say the 1,800, that kind of that odd, which would leave $9,000, and, appropriate it to like some t-shirts, some of the anti-vaping devices that you spoke of. What's your thoughts about that?
Oh, I'm good with, and again, we can allocate these, if we say we're gonna allocate $10,813.70 towards media, advertisement, education, yes, that's a broad field, but we've still allocated that money, and then you come back and say, we're gonna start off with 200 t-shirts, or, you know, or the, I don't know what
Well,
all the
one thing
different
on-
different devices are, so I can't.
I mean, it's kind of like remember the big, Melissa, can I ask, Melissa, don't you do like with the, like, don't drink at prom, you know, you sign the thing and you like remember that was the big thing about if you don't drink at prom, you can win something? And maybe like if you get a kid who vapes, you know, every day, if you go, hey, I'm like 3 months not vaping, okay, well then you get to draw on this, cause in that class, when they're, like the kids had to bend down to pick up something and they got to win that money, and all of them kept trying to get down, and when she was teaching the last vaping class, they all were like trying so much to get down, and I don't think anybody won the money, cause they couldn't do it, but they, you know, it was like a goal they were trying to get, and it's not even just the anxiety necklaces that they call, but, like even the fidget things, because when you think about it, even for adults quitting to quit smoking, they take, you know, gum and but to give the kids a goal of saying, hey, well, if you quit vaping going into this or doing something, I mean, just giving them, like, you get to win a free t-shirt because you went so days, but that's kind of what they did with the prom promise, wasn't it? Just the sign saying they weren't gonna do.
Kim Wallace was the t-shirt queen when I was in high school. She had a new Dare t-shirt every time I saw her.
Yeah, dare, just say no, that was a lot of
Spend their money on.
yeah, you know, like when I taught Just Say No, that's kind of how it was, you always wanted, yeah. Everybody likes a free t-shirt.
How much are t-shirts running now? When we did
$6.
$6, where's that? Is that a decent
Are they
t-shirt?
paper things?
Gildan t-shirt. No, I really
It's a
did,
good brand.
I just ordered t-shirts, they're really not that, they're not bad, they're, you know, $5 or $6, and that's for the soft, Gildan soft stuff. I mean, of course you have to buy a lot, but it's really not that bad.
So if we purchased 200 or 250, is that considered a lot, or are you buying 1,000?
I bought 50, and it was about $6 a piece.
Yeah, that's cheap.
So you're saying, Alexis, maybe take 9,000 again for the kids camp, and then the remainder?
Or,
for the media?
yeah, or divide it up and pull some away from that, you know, and do something with this, some t-shirts,
I like it.
some of that. I will say that, that as far as information going to parents about vaping and all of that kind of stuff, I'm not sure in the Stewart County system if they have before the school year begins, an orientation that requires student and parents to come. Do y'all know whether they, or the
Depends on
kids
the
just
grade.
go, or?
I think
It's
grade.
dependent upon the grade in that school that
I
you're
think
in.
it's like sixth grade and freshman.
Okay, so, I know, in Houston County, you have to, it's a night thing, you have to come, the parent has to come, and that's kind of the time that it's, parents learn about, it used to be just kinda, you'd send a paper home, the kid take a paper home, the parent's supposed to read all about, and that just didn't really always happen, but it's a time to inform. I think that could be a really great time, which that's on the school, to have someone such as yourself do a bit of a presentation with some of the information about the vaping and, just basically that uphill battle. I just think that maybe sometimes parents aren't as informed as maybe you would like for them to be, so.
Probably wouldn't hurt to do a night out, not just with that, but the sexting's a big
If it's
thing.
optional, people won't show.
Right.
But if it's something that you can just kind of interject into something that's like a required parent, thing,
Captive audience.
that's it, right there. They're there and, they're hearing, and so, that's
Sixth grade
just,
and freshman year probably is the time. that
that's,
when they start
just an idea that,
And those are probably good age groups to be doing that kind of stuff.
yeah, but,
Is that something that the court system would wanna get involved with?
I mean, we're fine at the school, wants us to, they had, asked one time before if Judge would talk to the school, and, I think he would be fine with that, we'd be fine with that. I mean, it cuts down our work, we're fine. I think I did like 7 petitions last week, so I think so, about that.
Yeah, so if you, I think if you could put something together, maybe an informational type,
Like the danger of it.
yeah, of all of this.
Oh, just
maybe
everything,
even
yeah.
even if you could work with Melissa, she's probably got that handy, a lot handy, more anyways. I know you can get to it, but she's probably got it in her office or something too.
Oh, yeah, cause she did the training on that stuff.
Create something that, just from the committee that says, we want you to understand this, and this. And if it's a monetary thing, if we need to buy pamphlets or there's something you want, I don't mind going to the school board and asking them for,
Yeah,
we
they
want
don't
you to
mind that.
stop by.
I mean, I think we'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I'll stand beside her and let her talk.
That's.
Well, and this, last year, don't forget that the school board got that, money from the Jewel settlement, so they could use that money toward pamphlets or giveaways or things like that, that if they, put that money toward that, it'd be extra.
We have rolled some more money into the school system that was technically, when it come down through this, was supposed to be appropriated for the school system, but the state kinda messed it up. And two of the Jewel payments were part of that, that really came into this fund that was supposed, so Heather's like, what do we do? I said, well, we're gonna allocate it right into the school system, because we're not gonna have an audit finding over the state, even though they would be the one, and that would be something they would do.
so that's something they did receive some funding for.
It was at 3,700 and some
Yeah.
change, and then the other one was not at about half of that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, if the school's willing to do that, cause I think we need that, and parents need to understand they need a sexting law.
the one thing that I have been impressed with, that I've seen the most out of opioid abatements across the state, is the ability to run through the juvenile court. I see the way they're maneuvering right now, and what Montgomery County is doing with their money is, the facility that they're building is gonna be top notch. But the ability to work through the juvenile courts, because you have a backboard,
Right.
Melissa, I've sat in some of her things and I've listened to them, she does an excellent job. But the fact of the matter is she's strictly educational. She doesn't say, well, if you do this, I'm gonna come after you. She don't have that ability, but the juvenile court does.
Yeah, we sit
And
in the
if
back,
you're
we sit in
saying-
the back row.
If you're saying that,
I tell them I'm sending them a trick.
but if you're saying that, it has more
Or a
clout to
tag
me to have a protected,
Right.
we're gonna tell you not to do this.
Right.
But if you choose to do this, we're gonna show you why you shouldn't do this.
Right.
So that type of, which leads me into a conversation I would like to have with you guys. And I haven't got to talk with the judge yet, and if he watches this, he's probably gonna be like, oh shit.
He's in court, so he. he don't know how to do all this.
Naughty will show him. I really wanna explore, another thing I'm seeing across the state is mental health at the younger levels. And,
If you can find it for us, it'd be great.
and catching, and grasping a hold of that.
If you can
Maybe
get me
that, I don't know how that looks. I'm not saying I know how it looks. I'm just saying
It's terrible.
counselors or,
Well, let me bring something forth here.
okay, sorry.
She
No,
already
that's-
heard all my stuff on the phone.
So, anyway, I can tell you what another school system is doing that's in a 3-year program. And it is addressing, basically the mental health needs, emotional, social needs. It's in their middle school, it's in their high school. And, so they started it with the COVID money that they had. I don't know what it's called when it comes into the school system, but, they started it, they're in their 3rd year. They recently did a survey with their faculty on programs that they wanted to see continue in their school system. And this was definitely one that they wanted to see continued because they've seen, improvement in grades, improvement in attendance, discipline issues, being reduced, through this. Now, what they have done is they have hired 2 social workers. And so these social workers, when Trish and I talked, what's available in the school is only available for kids with a certain type of insurance. Then other children in the school system will have to go private pay or something, and that's not always, people can't afford that, that's expensive. So there are some children that are getting some help with mental health in the schools, but then there's a group of children that's not. And so these positions that they have funded, it plugs in and it's an extra layer. And these social workers, and I talked with one for about an hour yesterday, they are actually pretty much one-on-one with students. They said they're finding that if this student is not coming to school, a lot of times they can start, investigating, and they're finding a lot of reasons why they're not. Behavior issues the same way. So they're trying to address, which to me, this is such an important prevention right here at middle school, high school level. Maybe it'll cut down on your work,
Cut down on
kids.
baking, to be honest.
So, I really think it's something that should be, looked at and thought about, seriously. We've got a pretty big chunk of money to work with in this next time of deciding. Now, I don't know salary-wise what that would look like. I know we can't hire, create positions and all of that, but there are ways that that could happen. And,
So there are several avenues for professional services. It's not just hire one and create a full-time job for someone. There's so many different ways. 10 years ago when I was working with you, a lot of those folks work off independent contracts.
Right.
And they can go different ways. So there's definitely, we have the money, number one, and then number two, we have the need, and we can make it happen. You don't have to, if we want somebody, the school says, again, me personally, that's the reason why I sort of wanted to talk to the judge, because I would like to see juvenile court hold this position. And, if it shows that we're working 5 years from now when we're completely out of money, and we need to go to the commission or the school board and say, because we want this in our schools, but I want the money that we spend to have direct accountability from here on out. And I think to the juvenile court, and I don't know, again, he might see this and be like, what is he talking about? But if we could fund that position for, maybe it's a 30-hour position, maybe it's just a contracted service, maybe we look and say, we're not over you, but here's, you know, y'all find the position that you like, or you,
Maybe better off like having a contracted position, you have somebody, because I do know there was somebody who like, goes out, you have a way you can tap into it. Because some of it is private insurance, but people can't afford the co-pays. So if there's a way to tap into somebody paying the co-pays, or paying for that $200, $300 visit that the parents can't afford to pay into.
how readily available, and this might be a Melissa question as well as you, how readily available is someone in our community that knows our community? Because here's the problem I had when I was with juvenile court. Worked for the sheriff's office, but I was essentially in juvenile court.
Yeah.
These people come in here and they don't know our community. They don't know anything about our community. And then they're coming from Rossview Elementary, coming to Dover Elementary. Well, our kids don't even have the same problems. Now, there are issues, the vaping, things like that, okay, but I'm talking about the issues that drive you to vaping or keep you from vaping or onto harder drugs. How readily available is it in our community to find someone, and I'm not saying they have to be from Dover or Cumberland City or Big Rock, but
It's hard. It took, you know, we have a CAC therapist that's in our building already, and it took like 6 months to find
What's a
somebody.
CAC?
That's the Child Advocacy Center that deals with cognitive behavioral therapy. You know, she's a trauma-based therapist. So it's a free therapy that they offer. It's only for kids that are sexually, you know, abused. So, and she has a waiting list, but, it took 6 months to hire somebody to come here to work.
And I don't
So it took a long
Well,
time to get somebody
It could
that's
be,
here.
you know, it may take a little while, but
She's
it's,
grant funded, but,
And isn't it, and that's what I was just looking for, and I can't find it now, but I thought, the governor was allocating money for education and mental health.
we did, now we do have a program which is called SOCAT, which is Systems of Care across Tennessee. So Stewart County is part of SOCAT, which is part of giving kids mental health treatment, which is, you can tap into that. So if a kid doesn't have teen care, you can tap into SOCAT, which will get them across the systems of care, getting in there, which is like youth villages, Health Connect. But there's usually a waiting list to get them in there, which offers in-home services, which brings them out of, for us, it brings them out of Henry County or Montgomery County. So they'll come here. But getting somebody that's here that knows our system, it's gonna be hard to try to get a company like that to have somebody that just works Stewart, because I don't know if you could really get, we don't even have a DCS person that just works Stewart. So I don't know about getting somebody to just work Stewart County that they would be able to justify those funds to have enough kids.
yeah, see, what
Like
I'm
for
looking for
us,
is to
yeah.
not to work, I'm looking for them to be in the office beside you. You know,
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
that you can just get up because you have a problem and you don't have to call
Right.
the
Like they
hotline.
do
Hopefully you
in
get
Centerton
somebody
now.
in 24 to 48 hours.
Right.
I want you to be able to walk next door and say,
Like, hey, I have this kid.
we
I
have an
want you to
issue,
look at.
do you mind going to North Stewart?
We do have 2 therapists in our community, and one, because you know how people are when they, you know, they don't wanna be seen as a therapist, and I think that, you know, doing some kind of contracted labor, like you're talking about,
Right.
would be the best thing, because if the school would allow her to go inside the school and see those kids, you know, because that's one of the other things, they don't have transportation to get to therapy, so if you could use her as a contracted person through the school system, or even if we paid, however it happened, she could do just like the school-based therapist and go in and see those kids who don't have care, and then we could pay whatever her visit is, or the, you know, the copay if they have
Right, that's
other
the thing,
insurances,
yeah.
things like that. And I think that she would be willing, I mean, she's gonna be like our main therapist for our recovery housing. But right now, most of her clients are coming out of Fort Campbell, because those are the people who will come to her to therapy, because people in Stewart County don't wanna be seen at the therapist's office.
And it's expensive. I mean, she contacted me, and it's a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
so,
to get
and
in
she does equine therapy, so I think that if you could get her, you know, on board, and the school board would be on board with it, she'd be great, because she lives here in Stewart County, she lives in Big Rock, so, I mean, and her office is just right up the road.
this
So
will
even
be
they-
most effective if it is on site in a school, because the program that I'm familiar with, they have a room, kind of like a comfort room, and
So you're talking about
those-
having a therapist before they even get to juvenile
yes,
court. You
yes,
just do like
that
prior
this
to that.
is, yeah, and those students are, you know, they can go in there, they can talk with her. It's a very, developing a close relationship with that person for them to help that student. And they have seen really great results, so much so that they are gonna make sure that it gets funded, since they're out of, I guess, their.
And a lot of the school systems are going to that. I know Montgomery County and Dixon County does have licensed clinical social workers on staff. And they usually will have a social worker that works like a cluster.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that is on site,
Yeah.
available, and, that's all. And, you know, we talked about a lot of the school, counselors now they have a lot of focus on the test scores, the reporting of all of that. If you're high school, then you're getting, you know, the students ready for college or tech schools or whatever. So they can't devote the time to mental health and emotional support and all of that kind of stuff. They just can't do it. And there needs to be some other means for us to get into a place of helping. I mean,
I literally said that in a conference not long ago. The state of Tennessee has put so much of a work burden on the counselors. I wish they would name them something else. Quit, because they literally don't have the time to counsel.
yes.
And I get it, I
wish
kind
they
of
would.
agree with her though. I think they would probably benefit more from being, if they worked so many days in high school and so many days at the middle school, they'd probably, and then pop over to ALC, you probably would be able to use a 40-hour week there more so than probably with us. Cause, you know, for us, like he can't court order somebody saying, you have to go see our therapist. You know, when you get to that point, I think that's what he would run into is if somebody came in and said, I really don't wanna use your therapist, I wanna use my pastor. You can't really say, hey, you can't use,
Well,
we have to.
I really wasn't, I wanted it to be housed locally.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be somebody, if the lady, thankfully, I don't know who she's talking about, so I'm definitely not.
Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't want somebody that had their own practice out of Clarksville or something like that. I don't think that, I'm looking, my ideas, and they're kinda intertwined, you're
Yeah.
a little.
It is, yeah.
I'm looking
Yeah.
for somebody that's local, and the only reason I said juvenile court is because I know there would be some,
Yeah.
we have some room there, we can make room for there, we can do whatever we need there. Girl, your office is bigger than this room. But,
To be effective, you've gotta get in those
say, yeah,
schools.
you're right, say, hey, even if we could eventually get to two, or start out
Right.
with two, maybe this one's is just the elementaries, and then you have one for middle, high, or however y'all worked it out would be fine, but just not to, and I'm really not talking about that the judge would say you're using this person, I'm really talking about.
Yeah.
But then again, if we have to, the school system, they're bogged down, and I don't think they have enough resources right now for mental health. And I don't think they think they do either, and I think across the state we're seeing that. Just to help them,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it would look like to go in and for a county contracted therapist to go into a school, so I don't know, I mean, there would clearly be hurdles there.
Yeah.
That we would have to address in the beginning.
And I mean, I guess they did it, because at one
I
time,
think the same, don't
mental
they?
health cooperative had a grant at one time.
Yeah, they would
They
come
had a
around to
counselor
the
doing
schools
that.
and
Yeah.
talking to kids.
It was a grant, they let her in.
I just,
She was at North Stewart in high school, and it was free, like, they didn't even have to have insurance.
They only saw people that did not have 10 care.
Right, and it was free,
Mhm.
but they lost that grant then, because now she works for Simmers now.
So I
She
really
only
would like to
sees
see us
10
move in this kind of
how do we
direction with
explore
the.
the monetary value of that? How do you use
Well,
that?
I was gonna bring this up, and so first, I think we back up, and if you're putting your recommendation, I think we need to deal with
Yeah,
that
we need to
issue,
go
the
back,
10,000.
That's right, let's deal with 10,000.
And then I have a suggestion, for new business of how, maybe so, let's deal with the 10,000. You want to
I
put
can
yours
get on
in?
my high.
Well,
Yeah,
I
motion.
mean,
I don't think we appropriate for that program, is it 18,000 or
18,000.
It looks like their first year was 18, it was like 15 for that, and then the materials was
3,000, so I'm assuming maybe each year it would
She's
be
gotta have any
18,
material.
but
If it said
15
year
for sure.
1, year 2, year 3, it was a total of 18,000.
Yeah.
So if you started out and just said 8,000, appropriate 8,000, then Then they'll know next year, I mean, when they get ready to come back, if the schools are still loving it and there's,
Right,
and the
still
lady,
loving it.
and the young lady still want to do it and all that, then they'll have a solid number, hey, we need to get that done.
Okay.
You know, and then, I think it's a good idea. I don't know.
Okay.
I do too,
I don't
kids
know
are
if
enjoying
Phil
it.
come up with it, or.
We haven't had any fifth graders charged with vaping, so it must be,
No,
they're making good choices.
And then, that would leave, and how do you all wanna word the,
28, 13.
the 28,
For media.
13 advertising?
Advertising, yeah.
Media,
You putting that in the motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All those in favor? Cause I think we talked about this last year, and so, we've kind of been talking about how we may spend money in the future or whatever. I would like to see us, first off, I know they have not had the program for a year, and I think with grants, usually at the end of the year, you have to do reports of how successful your program was, how many it impacted. I would like to see copies of that, what they did with it, so that if they come before us this next year, that we have it in front of us, and we can make, decisions based on that, especially if they're gonna be asking for money again. The other thing is us getting them like a time, like a time frame of, okay, we're gonna start advertising in July, y'all get your budget approved, for say 30, 40 days, anybody who wants to apply for this money or whatever, these people, send them a letter, put it on, advertising, and then come back, and that gives us time to look at everything. I think we need more time to, if it can be emailed to us, sit down and look at it, and then come back as a full committee, say September or so, and start looking at how we want to allocate the money. That gives these people time to, and I think we need to start doing it now. You need to be thinking about this now. We want everything in hand, because, you know, you do that with grants. You need everything in hand, and that way, it gives us 30 days to look at it, and then we come over here and have our meeting and talk about how the money. But also on the social worker, they'll give somebody time, we're talking, you know, we're 6 months out, let's look at it in a 6-month time frame possibly, and if somebody,
Gotta figure out
I like the
who's
social
teaching our
worker,
class on
because,
Saturday. Yeah, who's teaching the class, how many kids came to the class on
Yeah.
Saturday? Cause if they have 0 kids, then it's no use us giving them some
of course, they may have not started the program till July, so, you know, they may not have a year's worth of data to July or whatever, but in July, they should be able to give
they can
us
put a
some
monthly
kind
average together though.
Yeah.
And that should be,
Yeah.
that'll give them plenty enough time to do that. So, let me give you a little bit of timeline on the commission. February, April, June, August, of course, we meet in March a couple of times to wire out the budget, right? So, but school rolling back around in August, if the committee has a goal of trying to, have some of these programs in place by the beginning of the school year, we will need that info in June, so that we could, as a board, meet.
And the schools should have some of them, because my understanding, I should have a Saturday class before that.
Has anybody
If
heard
they don't,
from?
that's not a program we want to invest in
Yeah,
this year.
If not, Melissa's gonna be really, really busy. We're gonna be allocating,
got a-
we're
have
gonna
you
change
had
our
a,
allocation.
Touch up on you? I mean,
This is the whole thing right here.
how's it going? Have you had
Yeah.
any contact with any of them? And
Yeah,
how is that?
here's the information about what's going on with this, all of the funding they've received. They got bogged down because of construction issue and, it's engineering type thing. Their completion date is here. And, in my email, it was a really, she sent me a picture of the, design. Really nice, it was really pretty. My printer did not have, color ink in it, so I did not.
And we talked about
I didn't print that for y'all, that's for you. Did you get one, Clint? I made copies of these, this is just the email about.
Do y'all not have to send some kind of report into the state on how y'all spend this, how the money is spent? And even results of how?
No, not the results. It's No, they don't,
For my two.
they should have, I like it, I wish they would have, told every,
It's
but,
kinda basically up to us, isn't it, to see
yeah,
that it's,
they're pretty much saying,
we're to see that it's,
your people
people are doing what we,
Well, look, we don't want a 15-page document, okay, but, a couple pages.
I think the report is like approximate amount of people that you've served,
Right,
or that you plan to serve.
or at least what the money's for is being used for that.
Yeah, this is what we did with the money,
We don't need
this is
to
who
do
we
it.
did, you know, no,
so,
just something short and sweet.
Yeah.
and
And we had this many
We
kids
get
in
our
class.
information that determines who we want.
is the first part of June too much to ask?
no, it's not too much
Is
to ask.
it, you know, that's 3.5 months, that wouldn't even work, in my head, that would work. Not without having a special call meeting with the commission. Cause when you guys make your recommendation to the commission, they still gotta approve it. If we did it at the 1st of June, they couldn't approve it till August anyway, unless we had a special call.
Whatever dates work
Unless-
best for you, I just think that, we're early, let's get started early on and give people plenty of time to get the reports of what they did, and then are they requesting money again? Like, we gave $5,000 to the task force, well, what did,
Where did that go and how do you spend it and are you asking for it
Right,
again?
yeah.
So we can do that, can't we, Margie? Jamie can form that letter and send it to everybody that we give money to, and let's say, we'll schedule another meeting for April of this committee, and then by then, we will put a, expiration date on that says you have until this day to,
Just give us some.
we do that, that's the same thing we do for our nonprofits, so, I think that should be something easily she could do and get it out to everyone that got money, we'll get it out now, within,
Right.
maybe by the first part of next week, we could have letters sent out or emails, and they will have until, we'll stop that the first week of April, we'll want that back, and that'll give our office a week to put together a packet, and then you guys can go ahead and set your meeting date for April, or try to, and then tentatively, and, then in April, you should be able to understand if you are effective and what you're thinking about doing with the money that's going out. I'm gonna have to rely on you to come up, I don't know what the figure is now for I can't put a monetary assignment to what it will cost us to even explore 1 or 2 or whatever you decide. So,
Social
as
workers.
social worker, I don't know, how do you,
Just
it
depend.
ranges so much,
It does
you know,
range for
it's
so
the-
much. I think just really probably going to some of the other school systems and just kind of seeing around about how much you average.
How awesome would it be if we could find somebody that already has this in place to get a contract, to get a copy of the contract?
I know
to-
Dixon has one and Montgomery County has social. workers.
Comparable to what we're talking about, like a private or not a,
Because I know Montgomery County has social workers in their school that their school system pays, because they used to have the Centerstone and they started putting social workers.
I
in
wonder if we
their
could get a hold of maybe a makeshift contract or
school. Even if
something.
you did like I would say even like a DCS kids community for 2, like a state worker, I think that would be a compliment to, our level.
So, you wouldn't have to have a 40-hour over.
No, because you'd be
40
somebody
hours
who
in
was,
school.
no, it would be in the school system.
If somebody could get a hold of the grant for they were doing the rotating of coming down here, like,
Oh, yeah, with mental health cooperative.
yeah, they'll get a copy of that grant and say,
Yeah, Patricia.
and then it might even be that, like I said, I don't think I read that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there would be some money coming from the state for, I think
With the mental health.
with all of the threats of school shootings and the constant problems.
And that would definitely give our school system the leg up, if there's money coming down for that to make this a sustainable, make it a sustainable program.
And like I said, I think it was so much money we wanted to allocate towards.
That's probably private schools.
All right, any more business, anybody else?
That's all I have. Are y'all, what are you thinking about a date? Or whatever, tentatively, you
I
could
go
even
to
say the week, you could say
I
the
go to
third
the
week.
training the week of April 7th, so I'm not there. 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Hey, and if this daytime thing is something that doesn't work out for y'all, I'm okay with evenings. I mean,
It's hard for me on Tuesdays.
we have
since
so
Tuesday's the day after
many,
court.
meetings.
I like days.
We have so many meetings coming up that it's gonna be hard to get in here in March, April, May.
I mean, I'm okay as long as y'all are okay with me not doing my juvenile court job.
What about Thursdays, can you do Thursdays?
I can do
The
any
week,
day.
the week of the 14th is good for me, the 21st is good for me.
Yeah, I can do the Thursdays are good for me as well, as long as it's afternoon.
See, we have April the 3rd will be our, no, it's in February.
April 7th is county.
Yeah, April 7th is gonna be that county commission meeting, which
I'm
we've
good
got.
either the 17th or the 24th.
So,
Spring break's early this year, so that's not a factor.
y'all are saying the Thursday, 10, 17, 24.
We can't do 10.
So either
Yeah.
17 or 24.
Ooh, I think April the 11th is fine.
I could do either one.
So what are we saying?
Y'all wanna tentatively say the 17th? How's that work?
Okay.
So that's what we'll put in the letter for right now, and if that changes, then we may just, we'll have to make some phone
And if
calls.
we back it up to 1 o'clock, would that be better for Eric? I mean, probably with the bus.
Yeah.
system.
Probably.
I can be here anytime from 12 on, cause I usually get done at 9 o'clock.
We can do 12 and Boo can serve lunch.
We can't do 12 and 9. I can serve one.
We might get pizza.
There's no mics. Those are all chickens. You're getting pizza if you're asking me. No,
Whatever's good for you.
yeah, I'm good with y'all.
Whatever time y'all say.
Let's say 1, and then if we have some issues, just get on Kim.
There's, Tuesday mornings, I definitely have class, and then Thursday.
Tuesdays are just hard to put on time to finish up my stuff for Mondays.
And we're gonna say, I'll put that out on we're fixing to have a new, countywide, website, so, but until then, we'll put it on the one we have now, and then we'll try to get it out there. If anyone is asking for new money, and we'll have that on the agenda where they can all get up and speak and,
Would this not be sufficient for Mid-Cumberland?
oh, yeah, that's, to me, I mean, it is with me, I don't know if it is with y'all, that's actually pretty thorough.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, so we wouldn't need a reply from them since we've already got this.
Did she put in there whether she was requesting more money?
No, they're not, that was a one-time request, yeah, it wasn't. Mid-Cumberland, we've already really gotten a reply and an update on their funding and.
So, you know, I've seen you.
No, you don't have, are y'all good with that?
Yeah.
That's what we have received here, so.
I'll give her this copy and she can have it.
Yeah.
So y'all are good with that, April 17th at 1 PM, and we'll get those letters sent out. And you're gonna tentatively work on seeing about a contract, or you or somebody?
I'll check on it and Trish
I'll
can
ask
too.
questions.
Yeah.
Actually,
She kind of ballpark, Maria.
Actually, our therapist who worked at CSC used to be the social worker at Dixie County School System, so I'll see if she'll tell me how much she makes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how much, what it's gonna cost, and if we have the money to do that, and still, fund the other programs that are working.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
I mean, I should be very excited to go back to work.